Coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Welcome to an episode of The Vault. A number of years ago, I was at a UFO conference. There's a couple of JPEGs here from that. I believe I was the keynote speaker at a UFO conference, which has only happened, I think, twice in 15 years. And now I'm not invited anywhere with UFO conferences because they don't want to hear the biblical side of the narrative. They only want to hear that these intruders, as Gary Stearman likes to call them, are in fact our beloved space brothers. I'm not buying that for a New York minute. For those of you who follow this ministry, follow us on YouTube, you know where I stand with this. So this gentleman was in the Army. He was over in Iraq during the whole Gulf War thing, and his testimony is very, very interesting. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor. The financial world's biggest players just dropped a bombshell. Citigroup's latest prediction, gold rocketing past $3,000 by 2025. Folks, think about that number, $3,000. While Wall Street scrambles, here's what they won't tell you. This isn't just a prediction, it's a wake-up call. Every day you wait could cost you. Every moment of hesitation, a lost opportunity. Maybe tomorrow, another step behind. Smart investors are already moving. They see what's coming. A golden tide that could lift some boats and leave others high and dry. Where will you be when gold hits $3,000? Celebrating your foresight or wishing you'd listen? Noble Gold Investments is your bridge to that future. Your partner in preparation, your guide to what's coming. Don't let 2025 be your what-if moment. Be ready, be positioned, be confident. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and get 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins with a qualified account. Because $3,000 gold won't wait for permission. That's noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com. Folks, please remember that there is a risk with any investing, so please proceed cautiously. So here's a clip. It's about 10 minutes long. I've never used this in anything, but I think you'll find what he has to say. It gives us some insight. And remember, this happened years and years ago. So everything's changed then. This is circa, 2001, 2002, something like that. So this is a whole different deal. Now, 2017, the whole idea of UFOs is something that's talked about quite openly in the halls of Congress. Back then, no one said anything. You know, you become a laughingstock because of, even if you saw something, even if the UFO appeared right over the base, that's what would happen. So here you go. Okay, so you had an encounter in Iraq. You were with the armed forces.
Yeah, 2nd 137th Infantry.
Can you state your name for us?
David Mark Koch.
So David, what happened? You're out on patrol and you see something.
Yeah, that day Air Force One was coming in on June 13th, 2006. And our task was to go into Macassib and basically do, I wouldn't call it reconnaissance, I'd call it more like an overwatch action to make sure that Air Force One, as it came in from a high spiral, didn't come under fire from man-portable or vehicle-portable anti-aircraft devices. So we went in, I'd say, I'm trying to think about, I can't remember the time frame for when it arrived, but I definitely remember when it took off that night. And we pulled our mission, got done, went back to where we're at Red One in Palace Complex, and we just did vehicle maintenance, weapons maintenance, took a quick brief nap because we knew we'd be on patrols that night. We get up, we take off, I'd say about 9 o'clock. It was dark already, and we always have to go through Macassib to do security patrols, what we call curfew patrols, to make sure nobody's on the streets after 10 o'clock. So we're going into Macassib to do a regular routine patrol, and the lead vehicle stops. And we're not even in Macassib yet. We're out there where the goats and the sheep are at. And as that vehicle stops, the lieutenant stops, and usually he reports right back to me if there's a situation or emergency. Well, I got no radio contact, and so I tried to hail him on the handheld again. Nothing happened. And I nudged my gunner, who's standing up right beside me with a 50 cal machine gun. I said, "What's the holdup?" And he basically looks down the cupola. He points up. And I'm like, "What?" So for security reasons, I flip down my night vision, open my door, look outside before I step out so I don't blow my leg off. And I look up. And my nuts and bolts brain said, when did the Corps of Engineers have time to put these 1,000-foot long, tall poles up with these landing lights in front of me? Well, then it doesn't make sense because we were just there that morning. And no way could anybody build a structure like that quick. So I said, okay. So I flipped down the night vision again, and this time I'm looking at a mile-long black triangle. It looked like an aircraft carrier in the sky. Made no sound. It had no exhaust, nothing. Absolutely silent. You could hear the goats and the sheep in the fields. You couldn't hear this vehicle at all. And some of the guys told me that, this is where it gets weird, because we're 25 guys on a patrol, all trained observers. And we all have little bits and pieces that make sense to some, and some it doesn't make sense to others. Some of the guys said that they could see the city lights reflected underneath it. I don't remember seeing that. Some of the guys said that, actually the lead vehicle gunner said it actually flew over us once, paused, took off to the right, and came back and settled over us again. Now I'm trying to get that guy to collaborate the story. He moved to Australia for some reason for Cox Cable, and every time I bring the story up, he says, "Listen, I've got a new wife, I got a new life. I don't want to talk about this shit."
Most people don't want to talk about it.
And I'm like, well, I don't know if that ruined his first marriage or what. I knew I had to go to marriage counseling with my wife over all this stuff.
Wow.
I mean, this is a lot bigger story.
Wow.
This is the nuts and bolts story I tell the public.
Wow.
But 25 guys, all observing the same thing. But because of the timeline we were on a combat patrol, we had to get moving. So we couldn't just sit there and look at it all night and take, we had no, and one thing too, on these missions, we couldn't take video equipment. We couldn't take cameras, we couldn't take anything. So all we had was word of mouth and our patrol reports. So we decided that, okay, let's pick up and go. I told the LT, you don't want to radio this in. You don't want to radio this in. So we got to the other side, to the orange groves. We did a little rally around my vehicle with all the troops, and we said, look, we saw something pretty cool today. But here's the deal. We come back to the talk, and we report this. LT, you're losing your bar. I'm losing my stripes. And we'll be laughing stock of the whole battalion.
That's it.
So here's what we're going to do. Let's keep this to ourselves. Don't take it outside the platoon. This is a platoon mission. And I said, when we get back to the States and we're at a battalion dining out, we'll drop the bomb and we'll have, a good laugh about it. But I said, for now, we should probably keep it hush-hush. So the funny part was, now this is where it gets weird. So everybody agrees. Me and the LT go back to the talk, which is at Camp Slayer. And we're walking across this catwalk. Saddam Hussein had some weird buildings out there. And one of them was a little, like an island, concrete island with a catwalk going, totally surrounded by water. He had tons of these little weird, if you ever look at it was his headquarters, and he had so many weird, biblically built, he thought he was Nebuchadnezzar, and it's obvious, but what was really bad about it, the construction was so cheap. If you kicked the walls, they crumbled because most of it was steel girders with chicken wire and rebar, and then they just plastered over it. So you could actually walk up to the marble and pull it away from the wall and kick the walls in.
Good grief.
That's how cheap this place was built. It was almost like a paper mache, fantasy land.
Yeah.
Well, we crossed this little catwalk, and I'm like saying, LT, remember, don't talk about this. So we go inside, and everybody's on their computers, and every face is glowing with, computer screens. Everybody's doing this. And they're looking at J lenses, they're looking at satellite, photographs, all this other stuff. And just as a joke, I didn't think it would take me anywhere. But I said, hey, anything unusual happened tonight? Everybody stopped what they were doing, and all eyes were on us. And the whole place just had this tension.
Wow.
And one of my best friends worked at the talk, and he's like, and I'm like, anybody get any did anybody hit an IED or anything tonight? And everybody kind of does this collective sigh, and they went back to their jobs. And so we kind of just turned to our patrol report, and we booked out, and the LT was like, what the f*** is that? And I was like, I just wanted to test the waters. They saw something too.
And what do you think it was? What were you told it was?
Okay, this was years later, because I worked with Kansas MUFON, and they did their correlation on the time we were there, and they correlated with the time that Air Force One took off. I think it was 9:45, and we were there probably about 9:30 when we saw this vehicle. And from what I got from the director of MUFON, I won't use his name because he's not here to give me the permission, but he found out from somebody that was and the higher ups of the Air Force. And the higher up from the Air Force told him that's what he calls a TR-3B escort class dreadnought or dreadnought class escort. I can't remember which the two was. It's one of those two things. And that it follows Air Force One around wherever it goes, has a crystal, liquid crystal display on the bottom that can, basically project the clouds and sky. It's sort of like something you see in the Avengers.
Exactly.
And they said,
of course, let me just stop you there. Trump talks about we have a space force.
Yeah, we
and so why would he be saying that unless he knows about?
Well, I was hoping Obama was going to be the disclosure president. That didn't happen.
No.
Now, if you want to think about Trump's uncle was the guy that got a hold of all of Tesla's stuff.
Wow.
I mean, he was part of that group. He has Tesla's stuff.
So they know.
They know. So is Trump going to be the guy that right before the next election, in order to secure and cement his next election, is going to say, I've got the secret you've been waiting for. This is one thing that America's always been wanting to hear. And I'm going to give it to you, baby, but I want a second term. Is that what it's going to take?
Yeah, well, we'll find out very shortly. I know
find out.
If he spills the beans, he's got my vote for sure.
Oh, he's got mine for sure, no matter what. I wasn't about to vote for Hillary if you. Oh no.
No way.
No.
The witch with a B. Hey, thanks for coming on the record.
Hey, no
really
problem.
Appreciate
Man.
it. Thank you so
That's
much.
no problem at all, man.
So I just love testimonies like this. If you've got a testimony, shoot me an email, la@marzulli.net. We've got lots of little snippets like this in the vault, and we'll be showing them from time to time with you. Don't forget to go to our store, lamarzulli.com, lamarzulli.com. There are now 30 films and 14 books. Runs of Disclosure, it's a must-read, absolute must-read. You know what, folks? When you buy stuff from our store, it helps us keep the lights on. And, nothing is free on this planet. But thanks so much for coming here. I appreciate it. I just want to thank John Adam, who does all the editing on this, and all of you who support us and pray for us on a daily basis. Don't forget, folks, that UFOs are real, Bergerie, and not going away. This is the coming great deception. But when we go up, they come down. When we go up, they show up. Thanks for watching.